Now, let's talk about how we isolate the training impact from other intervening variables that may also contribute to business results. Why is this important to isolate the training impact only from other intervening variables? Because these intervening variables also affect the business results. For example, let's say you measured ROI of a sales training program, and based on the ROI results, the product sales have been increased after the training. Then, can we say that the sales increase is only because of the training? During the training, the organization's structure might be changed in a better way, or employee compensation system has been improved, employees' salaries have been raised, or the organization didn't do anything, but we just have a good economy year. So customers buy a lot of the company's product. When considering all these intervening variables, it is very hard to calculate the training's impacts only. Then, how can we isolate the training impacts from other intervening variables to see only the benefits of the training? Phillips introduces three methods. One is to use control groups, second is to use trendline analysis, and the third one is people's estimations. Let's discuss the first technique using a control group. Actually, it is very challenging to have a control group in the corporate world. However, if desired, you can still create one like the MIA case. You can implement a stress management program to a small group and compare their performance with other groups that didn't participate in the stress management program. The group that took the training is called the experimental group, and the group that didn't take the training is called the control group. You can compare the performance difference between the two groups after the training was conducted and see which group performed better. This way, you can isolate the impact of the training. Another technique you can use is a trend line analysis. You will review the trainee's previous performance as a base and draw a trend line to predict their future performance. Training is implemented, the trainee's actual performance will be compared with the trend projected performance. Chapter 8 provides an example of the trend line analysis, and the graph displayed on the screen is taken from the same chapter. This particular trend line analysis pertains to the shipping department of a book distribution company, and while I won't go into extensive detail, I will provide a brief explanation to ensure that you grasp the concept of trend line analysis. As you can see on the slide, you draw a trend line based on the trainee's performance during the last 6 months, from January to June, before implementing training, and extend it to the next 6 months, from July to December, to predict the trainee's performance. This is a straight trend line on the graph. And then, after you implemented the training in July, you add the trainee's actual performance for shipping to the graph. Do you see the performance difference between the trainee's predicted trend line and actual performance on the graph? You will compare the performance numbers to see the trainee's performance difference after the training was implemented. On the graph, it is clear that after the training was implemented, employees' performance in shipping improved more than their predicted performance from July to December, right? Using this result, you can estimate the impact of the training. For example, the average performance of the trend line for the later 6 months shows 92.3%, and the actual average performance after the intervention shows 94.4% on the screen. You can see that the trainee's actual performance improved by 2.1% after the training. The third technique involves people estimating the employee's performance after the training. Although it is easy to isolate the training impact from other intervening variables, it is not a scientific method. Personally, I would not choose this technique of people estimation to isolate the training impact. Instead, I would use regression analysis to isolate the training impact from other intervening variables. Phillips did not mention these statistical analysis tools and methods, as they are difficult and complicated to use without knowledge and skills in statistics. Therefore, we will not talk about these statistical tools, but most evaluators or scholars use statistical analysis tools instead of simply relying on people estimates, which is not a scientific method. If you, as a performance analyst, don't have statistical knowledge, then you can invite a statistician to join your evaluation group to work together. However, please keep in mind that all the techniques we are discussing here are based on estimation and not 100% accurate measurement. Anyway, using Phillips' method, people's estimation is a very simple technique. For example, managers, supervisors, employees, or customers can estimate the participants' performances after the training is implemented and see whether there are any changes in performance. Let's say a supervisor estimates that after the training, 80% of our employees' performance has improved. This information is provided in Chapter 8, and Phillips provides more details on how to use people's estimations. For your assignment, Case Paper 4, you will need to identify the intervening variables that affect the MEI business results. You can find the information on how they isolate training impact from other intervening variables in the case. A hint is to take a look at pages 368, which is 16.2.2 ROI Analysis Plan, 369, and 380 to 381. Here is another example of ROI Analysis Plan. Question: what are intervention cost items on this ROI Analysis Plan? Look at the cost categories. This example doesn't provide specific cost items in each cost category, right? For your assignments, please identify more specific cost items in each cost category. What are specific cost items for needs assessment? What are specific cost items for program development? You should be trained in this way. If you don't specify the cost items, you will easily miss important cost items, and it will affect ROI calculations and results. What are tangible benefits for the intervention? Your tangible benefit should be quantified to calculate the benefits. What are intangible benefits? Your intangible benefits are not able to quantify, so exclude from ROI calculation. What are methods for isolating the effects of the program? Again, participant estimate is not a scientific method. I strongly encourage you to choose other isolating methods, such as a trendline analysis or control group, if possible. For your homework this week, you will identify these 4 columns. In next 2 weeks, you will learn about the rest of the columns, methods of converting data to monetary values and communication target panel report. For your project assignments in Modules 7 and 8, you will complete all columns on this ROI analysis plan. Here is the MEI example of an ROI analysis plan. I would like you to take a look at their intangible benefits. As you can see from the arrows, they have put time savings and fewer conflicts into the intangible benefit categories. However, these variables can still be quantifiable. For example, for time savings, we can measure how many hours of performance time were saved and how much time was reduced in handling safety issues after the training. For the other variable, fewer conflicts, we can measure the number of conflicts, such as how many conflicts were reduced after the training. So for your assignment, please do not refer to the MEI ROI analysis plan table. Instead, you will need to develop your own ROI analysis plan table based on the information provided in the case. When creating the table, you will also need to justify your choices, such as why certain items are classified as tangible benefits and why others are classified as intangible benefits.